I want to know, what does Harlem mean to you?
Oh man, that is
A loaded question.
question. Yeah. What does Harlem mean to me? I think to me, whether or not I was born and raised in Harlem, I would realize and recognize the importance of Harlem. Just when you come to the Harlem Renaissance and the big black Southern boom in Harlem. So even as someone who enjoys history, I always enjoyed Harlem. The fact that I'm born and raised here adds another layer of oomph to it. But Harlem to me, for as far as the black experience, is still well and thriving today, even with gentrification, even with all of everything that's going on, political and emotions and financial. Black Harlem is actually still thriving. What most people don't realize now in my life, there are actually more black-owned and independent-owned businesses in Harlem. And I think people realize. But what I realize when it comes to Harlem or neighborhoods like Harlem is people pay attention to what's going on around them rather than going on right in front of them. I've had my business in Harlem for 13 years, my brick and mortar, one of my brick and mortar businesses for 13 years. And what happens with our culture is, let's say, God forbid, one day I close my doors and I'm out of business. Then what happens is people are like, oh man, I wish it was a place I could go and get a suit made. But what happens in our cultures when those things exist, we don't pay them much attention. We wait for it to go and then say, I wish we had that. Mm-hmm. So is there gentrification going on in Harlem? Absolutely. But there are 400 other businesses that need your attention. Mm-hmm. Don't pay attention to the gentrification. Yeah. That comes and goes. Yeah. I've been in Harlem 42 years. I've seen 20 different variations of gentrification. Yeah. They come in, they had actually tried to do a caviar's bar on 125th Street before. It didn't work. We didn't want it. Yeah. Don't pay attention to them. They're gonna come. Yeah. Pay attention to what you want in your neighborhood. Yeah. So Harlem to me is home. Harlem to me is legacy, is happiness. Every single thing about Harlem makes me happy, from the ratchet to the unratchet. And, I love every single thing. I love some Harlem summers. Yeah. I love the winter. I love just everything.
You can keep the winter. I gotta go somewhere else for the winter. That winter is brutal, man.
Because I'm into fashion, I like winter coats, so the colder the better for me.
I love fall. The Harlem fall, and I love the. Listen,
I like them big
real aggressive.
I like them big, ugly winter coats, man. I love, but that's also why I love New York. Period is, I love all 4 seasons. So everything about Harlem I love, but I just wish that people paid attention to the black-owned and women-owned businesses in their neighborhood rather than gentrification.
That's what's crazy is that I literally started the Quintessential Gentleman in Harlem. Really? Wow. 135th and St. Nicholas. I was staying at my aunt's house when I first moved here from Atlanta. I did it. I started in 2015. We launched in 2016. Okay. So we about to be coming on 10 years next year. Wow. Thank you. So, for me, New York is special because it really is a hustle mentality. And when they say you make it here, you can make it anywhere. And that's why so many people from New York, when they go somewhere else, they become amazing because I'm going to outwork you. I'm going to do all these type of things, So for me, Harlem this is full circle. This campaign that we're doing, this conversation that we're having, this make cover that we're doing, it's just amazing to me. And I'm like, okay, Harlem, my people, let's do it, And you also told me, your experiences with Harlem.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in, Brooklyn. My family's West African, but I grew up in Brooklyn, and so Harlem to me was like, okay, we're taking the train uptown, right? That was like, okay, we're tired of hanging out in Clayton, let's do something different. Yeah. Something different wasn't like going off a vacation somewhere in Florida. It was like, okay, we're gonna take the train uptown. Yeah. Take the A train, right, and get you right where you need to go. Yeah. We're on 125th, the little shops around, right? Jimmy Jazz, all those places around. And then one of the things that I've always loved about Harlem too is being West African, if you want to get some of the best chicken suya, you want to get some good oxtail.
It's the food,
you know what I'm saying? You want to see some live music performances, Shrine, right? Still over there, still up. So it was a chance to do something that was a little bit different than a day-to-day, but still get that culture and still get that experience. That's what Harlem is for me.
All right, Powell, go ahead. Talk to us about Harlem.
Harlem. When I think of Harlem, immediately, I'm going to Ralph Ellison, and I imagined the streets that I read about in Invisible Man and all those different works, And I remember them talking about the streets and the names. And so when I walk down the street, I go from Ralph Ellison to Spike Lee.
Yeah.
And I'm just accosted by the legacy, by the voices that just call out. You know, it's just a rich heritage for African Americans that we can trace, at least for me, I can trace all the way to the 1900s. Now, for me, that's big because I can watch all of that. I can watch, you know, Abyssinia Baptist Church building $1 million edifice in the Depression. You know, what? A marble pulpit. To me, now I'm corny, so
Listen,
those kinds of things,
man. That's what you love. You love what you love.
That was amazing to me.
And I think for me, going to the conversation about entrepreneurship and Black entrepreneurship, and I was just saying to you, I said, you know, I want us brothers to have more of a lending hand when it comes to you seeing other brothers. You know somebody that has something going on, and you know somebody that can help them. Go talk to them. Hey, let me put you in the right direction, because too many times we are all trying to figure it out. I have this media company. I've never created a media company before. I don't know anyone who's created me. So I'm literally figuring this out every day by myself in real time. Whereas now I'm getting, you know, I talk to this person and I'm taking little pieces. There's no blueprint. We don't have a lot of Black people don't have blueprints. So when it comes to Black entrepreneurship, you are like trying to figure so many things out. And there's people that have just a piece of it that you could, okay, let me grab onto this so I could use this next time. That's what I mean. When anybody say anything, like we was talking about secret sauce, I could give you the recipe. It's not going to turn out the same as mine. I'm not going to say it's going to be bad. It's going to be great. It's not going to be mine, but it's going to be great. And that's what we have to start doing. So I always love to have that conversation, especially about the brothers and Black entrepreneurship and being able to really go out and create your own and be happy. You were talking about your brick and mortar. Like when you were creating that, who was helping to do that? Who's helping you now?
So it's funny, as you said, I'm figuring this all out in real time. I have a master's degree in business, but I don't think it's good practice. I don't do business plans. I don't do none of that. All of my businesses are literally start and figure it out. Now, I just told someone that I'm mentoring is, you're never going to get things perfect, but I try to get things perfect enough, because once you start, it's going. It's hard to fix a building that's broken once it's built up. At least get your foundation strong. So as much as I don't believe in over-preparing, because what I realize in over-preparation is you actually never do anything. Because you trying to get all these rivets and everything perfect and the table perfect. Yo, just start, man. And I think that's the difference between this generation as opposed to 20 years, definitely as opposed to 40 years. 40 years, they had the business plan, they went to the bank, they did this. Man, me and my family, like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to do, and this is let's do it, and then figure it out. Now, the beautiful thing about what I do is, in all of my businesses, is that, like I said, I try to get everything as perfect as I can get it. It's never going to be perfect. Same thing with having a child, same thing with love and intimate relationships. It's never going to be perfect. Try to get as perfect as you can get, then do it. So who's helping us? We are. Our own failures, trials and tribulations. Now, I know that that's not traditional, and I know that doesn't work for everyone else. But back to what you were saying about secret sauce is, what works for me is not going to work for you. I could tell you everything that I've done. If you might be more successful, and that's great. This is the beautiful part about what I tell people. I don't gatekeep. If I can give you information and you take that information and soar and you more successful than me, then I've done my job. I'm very content with where I'm at in life and what I've done and the people that I put on. I love people seeing lap me 400 times. It doesn't matter to me, because if I'm ever in a jam and I need help, now I can reach out to you. That little information I gave you, you said, "Oh, B, Kel, remember that time you gave me this? Look what I did." And then now when I'm down and out, I'll pull me up. That's the part about gate. But that's what I have learned is just the OGs that I'm around that tell me, B, don't gatekeep no information. Share information freely. One of the things that a teacher told me one time is that if you ever learn something and you don't tell somebody the information, you really didn't learn anything. Wow. There's nothing I can tell you that's going to make you more successful to me if I already want to be successful. Yeah. And I think that's the problem with gatekeeping, is that people think you're going to do better than them. No, do better than me. That's why I'm telling you the information.
But you know what? That was also a construct. They made it seem, made it seem as if only one black man.
That's how it used to be. That's how Hollywood used to be.
Hello?
Yeah.
And now it's, no, because he might take my spot. And that's and also, I mean, to be honest, I never fought us because it's survival.
It's survival.
Yeah. And that's a real conversation.
Yeah.
It's
That's
survival.
a deep
We
conversation.
literally are, it's not that I don't want you to see great. I'm afraid of you taking my spot. And then what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But now we in a space where it's like, don't think like we all can do it. Listen, you have 10 other people that want to create magazines, a media platform work for black men. Let's go. I'll tell you how to do it, how to get going, and all that type of stuff. Because we need more. You go look at magazines right now. How many of them different magazines have certain type of women on their cover talking about the same thing?
All thriving.
Oh yeah.
It's enough.
Yeah,
it's enough.
There's enough pieces of the pie for everyone.
Yep.
And like, to talk about black entrepreneurship, like the first thing I think about is like resilience.
Yep.
When I hear that, right? Yep. We're about 100 years since Tulsa, right?
Yep.
And there's like tons of like Black Wall Street still thriving, right? Whether it's like online platforms, where you're able to like package, ship your products through Etsy or things like that, or even like, photographers, makeup artists, folks that are making commerce, right? They're able to access commerce through their sheer will, right? So that's what black entrepreneurship means to me. And it also means like, what you mentioned earlier, which is like, we need to get better, right? When I say we, right, black men in the black community, putting other folks on, right? And when you say, I don't gatekeep, like gold star on that, right? I 100% believe that, because the more we share opportunities for our brothers, there's enough pieces of the pie to go around.
More than enough. More than enough.
To the point of collaboration, Harlem represents collaboration.
Absolutely.
That's the story. It's really a continuation. The continued story of Harlem is collaboration. There was a safety because, and it's it's psychological, because when you had us insulated, because there were so many of us, you have this, you take this. However, the illusion is to get into downtown, I've got to take off certain things, and now only one of us can go downtown. Well, I don't have to go downtown. There's enough business uptown to keep me sustained. But collaboration exists. It's funny. I guarantee you, the statistics back me up. During our segregated times, there was such a safety and influx of black African American business that was safe.
Absolutely.
I'm talking from south to north, east to west.
You touched upon it, and you said something also. The black experience is collaboration. That's why the Harlem Renaissance was successful. That's why Black Wall Street was successful. The problem with being black in America is that if you segregate us, and you say, hey, go to that block, we're gonna make that block thrive. The problem is once they see us thrive and they say, wait, hold on, y'all thriving too much. Let's burn it. We gotta burn it down. Because there was no reason to burn down Black Wall Street. We was out your way. You said go over there to that dilapidated area.
You told
Let's
us to go.
We go. We gonna kill it.
But
Where do you want us to go?
Always, and I say this, we were together when we were segregated.
Right.
Yes. So this is a real conversation.
It's a real conversation.
My only issue with us being segregated was the segregated, but we're not equal. So
Classism.
So we all in our pockets, we doing our thing, but we don't have the same things as the other as our counterparts. That's the issue.
I gotta push to you on that and say equal to who?
Right.
Because
look at resources though.
But
Resources.
we were creating our own portals of resources. Now, yes, it takes us a while to
It's
the cost come.
but that time is crucial.
It is.
It is.
Because other people, counterparts, are able to build wealth exponentially faster than we are because of the resources that they have available to them. So and honestly, you know, I understand having diversity. It's very important. I think you learn from different people. You're able to, you know, kind of feed off of certain people and understand that. But if you talk about segregation and you talk about making sure that, okay, these people on this side, this on this side, and you as a country are giving people resources, why is these people resources better than these?
So,
and you still want us to be able
piggyback
to reach a goal.
To piggyback off of something that you said, brother, what happens is with opportunity is you could give 10 black men the same opportunity. 2 are going to thrive. 6 are going to do okay, and the rest are not going to care. Because what I realize about opportunities is some people are content with whatever they're doing. Some people, they're like, I don't want a nice suit. I don't want a nice watch. But as black people, for the most part, we usually get all of the same resources. Let's just assume we all get the same resources.
Okay.
So my point is, some people don't want better for their life. And that's not saying anything bad or wrong about them, but it just is what it is. But if you even get even more general than that, we all got the same 24 hours. So as black men in America, if we're all born poor, we all have the same resources. Some people don't want better for themselves. It has nothing to do with race. So, but I do think that as much as racism is a big thing in America, classism is even better. But we don't judge and depict classism the same way we depict racism. We assume that a black person or a white person is unsuccessful because of race. Some people are unsuccessful because they don't want to be successful. That's just it has nothing to do with race. We only tie race into that because a black unsuccessful person, we pivot that to society. But I'm from the projects, right? So if I made it out and I know 200 other people, you can make it out. Some people don't want it. They want to be handed something. And that's not fair to the overall black experience because a lot of black people want great things. But a lot of black people, okay, say, this what you want to give me? Cool.
Well, you know, to that, and I'm coming out of it because it's just so good. You know, that Harlem Renaissance really made a culture that if you didn't want more, you were sort of pushed out. Because the only thing in that Renaissance was to be in. You're looking for a way to be all right.
Black
so you're
people
doing
migrated up here for the Harlem Renaissance.
It was a safe space to be creative. Back when there was no creative world.
You didn't have to be a part of it.
You didn't have to be a part.
No.
If you said, hey, you know what, I'm gonna stay over here, I'm gonna stay but there was such a heavy lane. You've got poets, you've got not one poet, not one.
Hundreds.
I came across a TikTok of Marcus Garvey, and I'm listening to the speech, and I'm saying, this man is good, right? Like, but he wasn't the only one. There was hundreds of people talking. It was like everybody was trying. Everybody was good at something.
And I love when I'm randomly find out about a new person, do your research. You'd be like, I've never heard of this person. Like I ain't found out about Stokely Carmichael till I was like 28.
Like who?
Yeah, and then once I'm like, oh, Stokely Carmichael. So I love, that's one of my favorite historical periods, the civil rights, Harlem Renaissance. Where we were really thriving because there's so much information.
I would
You're
love
never going to
if
be
I
able
could
to
be
dwell
here.
into it all.
If I had to go back, I take me back then because I'm telling you, the genius. It was creatives before we had a word for creatives. That was creative.
And they shared, it was no gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping.
So when I meet older people, they come into the store, they see the pictures on the wall, they got all these Harlem Renaissance stories, and my eyes just light up like I'm at a celebrity because they're basically saying, yo, back then, we was it was like a chitlin circuit within Harlem. It was like, yo, if you want fried chicken, go there. If you want to go to a speakeasy, some sneaky joint, go knock on his door 3 times. It was
everything.
It was,
and everybody's eating.
And everybody's eating.
And
everybody made sure everybody.
So close up this conversation, I want to know from each of you, how do you think black men can win in America today? And I'm going to start with you, Silas, because you have a military background. And I'd love to get your perspective on that. And then we definitely just, kind of go around.
Absolutely. I think, look, if you think about, and I use a lot of analogies, and sometimes it's a little corny, so bear with me, right?
It's all good.
So there's this analogy where, whenever you're on a plane, they said put your seats upright, right, for takeoff. And I think it's fitting because like your foundation needs to be solid if you want to ascend. And so when asked about how, black men or the black community can progress, it starts with the foundation. And I think the black family is that foundation.
Love that.
So you mentioned earlier about like Jim Crow, and you mentioned how, we were together when there was segregation, how much togetherness. Part of that togetherness was the black family.
Yeah.
Right? The marital rates, the father figures in the neighborhood, where like you didn't have to be a dad to be a father to someone.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be a related to be a mentor. There were shared resources, there were communities.
Yeah.
So I think part of that is like understanding our power as black men is that we're still sought after for leadership.
Yeah.
They still look to us, whether it's, corporations, whether it's sports teams, whether it's media, whether it's the military. We are looked to for leadership.
Yes.
So we have to lean into it, right? I know it seems like, there's a lot of stuff going on that are keeping us down, but, it's not a coincidence that like, pick a sport. We dominate. Pick industries that we dominate, right? Because we're not only athletes, right? We're great entrepreneurs, we're businessmen. We're cultivators, we're founders, right? I'm talking to a founder, I'm talking to a businessman. I'm talking to a creative that have many talents. So my message is, look, we have to get back to making sure that we mentor the youth, that we're there, and that we build our foundation. And, lead again. Let's lead again. Let's not shy away from leadership.
No, I agree.
I think black men need to say what they need. Just black people, period, but black men specifically. What happens is you ever need something as simple as a plumber at your house. You have some water problems, and you're at an event, and you be like, damn, I really need a plumber. And I'm like, yo, my man is a plumber. But I think that we forget to use our network like parallel. We always want to move up, but the people you need are right there. So I'm very big on, if I need a photographer, I need a videographer, I'll literally post it. Say, this is what I need. I'm not afraid of that. I think we got to this cool stuff where it's like, I don't want to tell people what I need. I'm like, yo, I need this. And people are like, yo, my man does this. And then I always tell the kids that I mentor, tell people what you do. Not in a real braggadocious way, but this is the businesses that I have. This is who I have connections with. Like if me and you would have had a casual conversation, I say, yo, B, I can get you anything you want here. But I think the art of casual conversations is lost. But that's the importance of, I think, black people socializing. Black men socializing is our golf course, at the bar, in the backyard, because that's how business deals were made. What they used to tell us when we were little, how our racial counterparts did business deal on the golf course, because it's not really a meeting, we're just talking. This is what I do.
Not in the boardroom.
This is who I just met. I just met the CEO of this. He's like, yo, I need a media printing company. But yo, I just met the. It's casual conversations. But I do think that black men need to say what we want and tell people what you do, because everybody doesn't know. Every opportunity that I've had business-wise has come from me casually talking to someone. Meetings and let's meet for coffee, that doesn't work for me, the style of the way I do my business. Casual conversation works for me. Walking by someone on the street, someone stopping me, you know what I mean? I sold 2 of these outfits walking from my shop to here because of my outfit, because it's just casual conversation. I couldn't have did that. I could have did 20 posts on Instagram. It's not the same. You need to be out into the world. You need to touch the people. So black men, we just need to speak about what we want, but you also got to tell people what you do in life.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. I echo the sentiments of my brothers here. Collaboration is the currency of today. And if we're going to be fluid and if we're going to be successful, you're going to have to learn collaboration, which deals with security, not being insecure of what you're doing, not being insecure of sharing, playing in the sandbox with others, but also knowing your demographic, because you can't offend your demographic if you know what your demographic is.
Talking to them.
You gotta know. One of the first law, of public speaking is know your audience. Know your audience. As black men, we are our own audience, but we come from so many different backgrounds. So you cannot assume that two men born in Harlem come from the same experience.
We don't.
Exactly.
Because it's not the same.
We always make that assumption.
It's not.
Right.
But the collaboration of the two creates a new currency that we both can eat from.
Yep.
So I think for black men, really embracing collaboration and finding the safety, there's enough out here.
Everybody.
There's enough out here in every facet, and you can through collaboration, you can create a new lane of something. You don't all have to make, put eyelashes on or fake T-shirts.
Yeah.
There is so many.
Yeah.
Who supplies the tags that goes on the T-shirts? So many ways, but collaboration is that currency, and I think many of us will be able to be the recipients
Of that
currency if we move in collaboration.
Yep. I like that. And then for me, kind of tying all of what you said, black men need to support each other. That's it. We all need to support each other.